you get the call, or you get a notification, I assume, that you walk
Correct.
me through what you experienced.
Yeah. So yesterday I was on general patrol, kind of in the inclement weather that we're in right now. We try to not make a lot of stops due to the safety factor of the traffic. So I was on general patrol, and tones came out, an alert came out over the dispatch. Central dispatch put out a transmission of a water rescue, ice rescue, for somebody that fell through the ice, still in the water, could not get out. I was about 3 to 5 miles out. I was close to the general area, so I initially, right away said, okay, there's a good chance that I'm going to be the closest person. Um, Let central dispatch know I was en route. I was about, like I said, 3 to 5 miles out, so it took, in the conditions that it was in, it took a little bit to get there. Emergent or not, we still have icy roads, so we gotta abide by everything. So I arrived on scene. Right when I arrived on scene, I could see something brown or black in the water, an inanimate object out in the water. Couldn't tell what it was, so I confirmed with EMS, is that our victim that we're looking for, and they confirmed, yeah, it is. We have a lot of trainings. We have hundreds of hours of training in water rescues, and there are things that you can train for, and there's things that you can't. And the one thing that you can train for is time. When somebody's bobbing in the water and somebody's in the water, you may have 3 seconds or you may have 3 minutes. You don't know. So first thing I did was grab the rescue disc, and try to get out there as fast as I could. Entering the ice about 10 yards offshore, there had been a hole that someone used a spud to come through prior to the incident. So I checked that hole to see the thickness of the ice where I was at right on shore, and it was about 4 inches. So I was good with 4 inches. I knew I was confident with that I would be okay. I just kind of put it in the back of my mind of where we'd be looking at to continue further. As I made my way out, loud verbal commands trying to let him know, here, I'm coming, I'm here. Where did you come in at? So I could know your path, so I didn't go right down the same path he did. Verbal commands obviously are to give me information at the time, but not only for information, but it's also to keep him alert, keep him distracted, kind of keep him talking to me so that I know he knows everything's going to be okay. About halfway out there, I told him, hey, I'm going to get as far as I can. I have a rescue disc I'm going to throw to you. I was keeping an eye on, you can see as I look left to right in the video, I was keeping an eye on cattails. When training or intuition or instinct doesn't kick in, you use whatever tools you have. And if that tool means looking left to right to cattails to know that those cattails are in 2 to 3 feet of water, I'm okay with that. I can live with the fact that if I go through in that amount of water, that I can either break the ice to get out or climb back out. So I got basically to the point where the cattails stopped. The ice was it was snow covered, but you could see where the wind had moved some snow, and there's some discolorations, and he was in spongy ice. There's a million things you can do about getting people out of ice, hard ice. Almost nothing you can do about somebody in spongy ice. Every time that he would try to advance forward or move forward, the ice would break. He said, after talking to him later, he said the ice did not feel like ice. It was spongy. It was soft because you have that snow on top, and you have that wind, and you have all that's thermal between, and it's not allowing that ice to freeze. So I get to basically the point to where I have deemed it, I can't go any further. For my safety, obviously, we can't create two victims. So I alerted him. I told him, I'm going to throw this rescue disc, try to get it, do the best you can. Had a great deployment on the rescue disc, landed right in front of him, but it just wasn't enough. It was about 5 to 10 feet in front of him. And at this time, I had just noticed that he had a dog with him. I didn't hear it come over the radio initially that a dog went in with him. I didn't notice until I got out there that there's a dog in the area. I don't know if she was in the water. I'm not sure where she was at. At this time, the instinct kicked in of, okay, I've used my tools. What else do I have? The only tool I had was a dog. And it just kind of kicked in. She was a Brittany. I have a hunting dog, so I know sometimes they don't necessarily listen to commands that aren't from who they should be from. So I confirmed with him. I said, hey, will she listen to me? Will she take verbal commands from me? And I'm pretty sure he said yes. I asked her what her name was. He said Ruby. And the second I said Ruby, here she came. I'm not a canine handler. I've never been a handler of anything. And, I have some interactions with my dog. But, watching what we do every day is we watch body language, we watch thought processes with people, and you can see it. Watching a thought process on an animal is amazing. So she came to me initially looking like it was playtime. You know, you got an orange frisbee and you got an orange rope. It's time to play. But if you watch the video over, she comes up to me, and when I grab her collar, she sits down and looks at me, and the whole demeanor changed. It was time to go to work. Hooked it right to her collar, and she knew exactly what to do. At first, you could kind of see her like stumble, like what's going on with this thing. But after that, she knew exactly what to do. She went right to her owner. After talking with him later, he said that she just basically jumped right on top of him, said, "Here it is, do what you got to do." He unclipped it, continued loud verbal commands. So when you're in the ice, in obviously water conditions, and the ice is breaking out, you want to kick your feet. Kick your feet as much as you can so it brings your feet up to the level surface of the water. And then when you kick your feet, you can pull yourself forward. Well, when you can't pull yourself forward due to the spongy ice, all you have is your feet. So I was basically trying to counteract the fact that we had spongy ice with a rescue disc. So I knew if he kept kicking, that we could do some pulling and kind of counteract. In high stress situations, in loud situations, in the environment that we were in, it's not easy to give verbal commands. It's not easy to understand verbal commands. So he did absolutely fantastic. He heard every command I gave him. He executed every command I gave him. Kicked his feet, brought his feet up, one good pull, and he popped right back up onto the ice. He was still at a distance to where I couldn't see if he was on the ice or if he was still in the water, so I had to confirm with him, "Are you out of the water?" And he confirmed, "Yes, I'm out of the water." At that point, a fire department employee arrived. It was fantastic. Clear communication with me. I said, "Hey, he's out of the water. I don't have any traction though." So I'm pulling with all my might, and I'm just pulling closer to him. He's pulling me toward him. I'm like, "If you can grab my boot, if you can grab my vest, if you can grab something, that would be fantastic." And anchored me down. And then once I was anchored, grabbed the rope, and we both pulled him as far closest to the shore as we could, about 50 yards-ish from the hole, to the safety point where we knew, okay, we can at least make ourselves big on the ice now, get to him and just keep him on his belly, use it as a sled, and just get to the shore. And that's what we did, and it executed fantastic. It was seamless. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, and one of those pieces didn't come through, and could have been having a different topic here. So
it's a great story. All right. I imagine that you are far too humble to admit that you're quick thinking.
Absolutely.
And the help of a dog. you very, very. It's easy to jump to the conclusion that you saved a life yesterday. Have you ever saved a life before?
We have your instances of medical calls and first aid calls and stuff like that, where we run on teamwork. Okay, so whether I'm working side by side with an EMS crew, or I'm working side by side with another officer, another deputy, another anybody. At the end of the day, who knows who saved the life? At the end of the day, who cares? All that matters is they're here. Yesterday was kind of one of the first where it was like, well, I was the only one there. So, it is one of those things. Yes, I was on scene. Yes, I was in a uniform. Yes, I'm wearing a badge. But anybody at any time would have done the same exact thing. We don't need to be in uniform. We don't need to do this stuff. Obviously, we do not want people chasing in, going after people in the water. But this is nothing that has to do with general law enforcement. We're all people. We're all here to help people. We're all here to save people. So the only thing that is very good to take away from this is us as Michiganders should know we're always within 6 miles of a body of water in Michigan, no matter where you're at. So we need to do our due diligence to give Mother Nature the respect, to give her the courtesy of knowing that this winter is not like last winter. We need to do our due diligence and know where we can be safely and know where we can't be. And our lakes is one of them. Everything happened fantastic yesterday, but there could have been some things that were changed. Ice reports, weather reports, local news, bait shops, gas stations. There's ice reports everywhere. If you need an ice report, call around, jump on the internet, see where you got to go. If you do feel that you want to go out on the ice and you want to check the ice yourself, take somebody with you. Even if you don't take somebody with you, let them know where you're going to be, let them know how long you're going to be there, and try to make sure somebody's around. He was wearing a float coat, thankfully. Float coats are a great asset to have. They'll keep you buoyant for a little bit. That's probably the reason, again, why we're here today. If you weren't wearing a float coat, there's a good chance once you go under, it's not a good situation. So those are all really good gear, really good tools to have. Just make sure you have the right tools to do so. These unfortunately, these are annual reminders for us in our climate of, it's not what it was last year, and we need to do our due diligence to make sure and respect that Mother Nature changes. So